Hello, uh, the reason why you might be on this video is because you were curious about the Asian needle ant. I figured I would create a video about this ant. For one thing, it's because my property is absolutely infested with these Asian needle ants. I know people have been seeing them on the news off and on. They kind of get a buzz on the news about them, and we bought this house back in 2023, just a couple years ago. I've been doing some yard work, and I've been getting these bites, or these stings, or bites. I didn't know what it was, and I could not figure it out. I could not. Every time I feel it, I didn't see anything. I'm like, what is going on? What is this that keeps biting me? I was thinking maybe it's a fire ant or whatever. And I said, but I've had fire ant bites before, and it don't look anything like a fire ant bite. So I was just trying to figure out what's going on. I took weeks of trying to figure out what this insect was that was biting me, and finally I figured out that this some of you already know the Asian needle ant. It is a nuisance for us. You can't do any kind of yard work at all without getting bit. I mean, if I'm already have it locked in my mind that if I'm going to do any yard work, I'm going to get stung by one of these ants. It's just the fact of the matter. You're going to get stung, and several times, because they're everywhere. My property is covered in these ants. And the thing about it is, and this is just my experience, I'm not no professional or a scientist or anything when it comes to these ants. Trust me, this is from my own experience with these ants. But the initial sting, I don't feel the initial sting. That's why I had a hard time trying to figure out what these things are that I kept getting stung by. But I finally figured it out because I find them in my clothes, just crawling around in my clothes. They get trapped, they get pinched, and that's when they sting you, because it's just that pressure gets them trapped and they sting. And it's not an excruciating sting or anything like that. I will actually find one, and I will show you and show it stinging me on the arm. It's not terrible. Honestly though, it depends on where it stings you. It hurts the worst. Like, I've got one that stung me. I don't know if you can see it. Here's a whelp. Right there. That's a sting right there. Yep, that one hurt. It hurts when it gets on your back or your belly or your armpit. I got one stung me there too. But I'll show you one stinging me on the arm or whatever, and you're not going to really see much of anything, but regardless. But I think the biggest thing I just want people to know is realize that if you have anybody that is, because these are going to get in your yard eventually. And if you have any reaction to stings of any kind you're going to probably have a reaction to this as well. And what makes these things worse than a fire ant is that you know where a fire ant is. You know where their mound is. These ants, they are the most wandering ant I've ever seen. They're absolutely everywhere. And you just don't know where they're going to be. And a lot of times their nest are under rotting wood or a rock or whatever like that. But they wander away from their nest. And you will, if you're picking up, like right today, I'm just kind of cleaning up some brush and trying to get some brush cleaned up, and like I said, I've been got bit several times already today. But yeah, these ants, and one of the reasons I think my property has them so bad is because of the horticulture business that used to be on here several years ago before we took ownership of it, and I believe that it makes sense that, you know, you have shipments of plants coming in. I mean, I could see why that these things would be so bad here. And also the Euro spider is terrible on our property too. But I mean, that's not too much of a big deal to me. But yeah, these ants are, if I had a allergic reaction, if my wife had an allergic reaction to these, it would be an absolute nightmare. I honestly don't know how we would deal with it, because our property is very wooded. It's a total of 15 acres. A lot of it, 10 acres of it is wetland, but about 5 acres is actually useful. But it's not practical for me to treat our property for these ants, because it's not going to work. There's no way I can treat my woods, and that's where the majority of them are. But yeah, I will try to give you a. Let me see if I can find one here. I know they're everywhere now. Watch me not be able to find one now, just because of the fact that I want to show you this ant. Usually you can see them anywhere. Okay, here's one right here. Those are 2 Asian needle ants right there. They look like a regular ant. There's a few. There's one there. Now I can take one and I can let it sting me, but obviously you're not going to really see much of it. Let's see. There's the Asian needle ant. You can kind of see. It's kind of like it got like a torpedo-shaped butt. Let's see if I can initiate a sting. Sorry, y'all. I can't. I'm having a hard time holding this camera and doing this at the same time. I don't even know if it stung me, to be honest with you. But it takes a few minutes to whelp up. But you did see, regardless, guys, you did see the whelp on my back that I have. And that's it right there. One of them there. But y'all be careful. I know if you don't have them now, you're probably going to eventually have them in your yard. There. And honestly, though, if you have a lot of sunlight, I believe I reached out to somebody at the University of Georgia, and they told me that they like shaded yards, because my yard has a lot of shade. They like to nest in shade or find a refuge in a shaded area. But just be careful with these things. They are they can be a very potentially dangerous ant, especially if you are allergic to any kind of bee sting or wasp sting or whatever to that nature. So I was every project that I have been associated with, these things have these have gave me several stings. I'm trying to, as I was rebuilding the well house over here, they stung by crazy rebuilding this well house and doing different things in the yard. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to alliterate to you guys and let you know that these things are not they're not a joke in terms of if you are allergic, because it would be a nightmare on our property. But anyway, all right, guys, y'all stay safe. God bless.